The attacks on RFK Jr., that he's a conspiracy theorist, ramp up dramatically by the day. And he sat with David Remnick of The New Yorker, who tried to get around really getting into what RFK Jr. has said about vaccines in a clever, though totally dishonest way, because it's a lot of work to take him on vaccines because he spent his life researching them, litigating them, and has a wealth of knowledge that no reporter is ever going to have. Trust me, David Remnick, some of us spent weeks preparing for our interview with RFK Jr. so that we could challenge him. That's called your job. But here is how The New Yorker chose to handle it. Listen to this.
I'll be very honest with you. I don't want to engage you in the deep detail on the question of vaccinations and your belief stated in the past that vaccines are responsible for autism to some degree. Do you not have any second thoughts about this?
I've never shifted on it. I want good testing for the vaccines and I want good science. You say that scientists don't believe that. Well, the scientists at one point all believed that the COVID vaccine prevented transmission. And when I said, no, they don't prevent transmission, because I read the monkey studies in May of 2020. And I said, these vaccines should be dead in the water. They won't prevent transmission. And I was deplatformed.
He was. That's true. How lazy. I will say David starts it with, I have a child who's got autism. I mean, honestly, most of us know somebody who's like in their immediate family who's got a child with autism. This is such a widespread problem for families now. He's not unique, with all due respect to him and his child. It doesn't give him a particular insight on what causes autism. And RFK Jr. has stated his belief on the relationship, he basically thinks it's a ubiquitous problem. It's like the pollutants are everywhere. The vaccines for a long time had mercury. Now they have aluminum. The kids are swimming in a toxic stew in modern day America in a way they weren't when we were all kids. That's what he says. But Remnick is too lazy to go there. He's got to play the card about his own child. So, I've got a horse in this race and you're not worth debating on it because, your views are just downright dangerous still.
Yeah. I mean, why bother for, getting ready for an interview when it's much easier to do that thing? Because everyone in the media, of course, will cheer it on when you say, well, I'm not going to engage you on this. Of course, we saw this with the Joe Rogan debate story from a couple of weeks ago. You actually get cheering and adulation from the media for avoiding these types of conversations. And look, I think when it comes down to it, people get really passionate about this issue on both sides. I think one of the big problems we found in this country recently, this is a new discovery that I thought was kind of the foundation of the country, that we avoided this type of problem. If you have a situation like, for example, the vaccine, and you tell people, hey, here's the information that we have, here's what it looks like, you can look at it yourself and you can make your own determination of whether you would like to use it or not. That is a really American approach to something like this, where you say, hey, look, we're going to have different some people are going to say, I think this is nuts. It's not been tested long enough. I want to see the long-term ramifications. Other people are going to say, look, I've got a health problem and I'm really worried about COVID and I'm going to take it. If you put people in that position, everyone can live together. You can have a country that is civilized and not attacking each other and going nuts all the time and trying to ban their opponents. When you start forcing people to take it, when you ban their speech, when you fire them from their jobs, when you remove their livelihoods by enforcing the choice onto them, that is where we get into a problem. And honestly, I thought that was the real basic agreement we all had together in this country. I thought it was one of the reasons why we thrived as a nation, letting people make their own decisions about what they want to do with their own lives with very limited guardrails. We've gone away from that. RFK Jr. has been a big victim of this over the past couple of years, but he's not the only one. We see it across speech. We see it all over the place. This is the type of thing that if we reverse this and go back to a situation where we prioritize personal liberty over the government making these decisions for you, everybody is better off.
It's such a lazy way to have an argument or challenge a knowledgeable guest, Dave, right? Like, you're a reporter, you understand. If you want to go there with RFK Jr. on vaccines, go there. But do your homework first. Don't just say, I'm above you, you're a nutcase, you're dangerous, so I'm just going to point out to my audience how effed up you are and then get you to briefly comment and we'll move on. That is intellectual laziness.
Oh, it's worse than laziness, because the purpose of this is to delegitimize not just RFK Jr. on the vaccine question, but RFK Jr. across the board. RFK Jr. will say things that almost any other Democrat won't say, right? Stu pointed out his criticism of the war in Ukraine. Another one is RFK came out and said biological men shouldn't be in women's sports. Find me another Democrat. Find me any elected official in the Democrat Party who believes this thing that the vast majority of Americans believe. The vast majority of Americans look at that basic unfairness and they say, well, obviously, Leah Thomas shouldn't be in the swimming pool with these women. RFK is very dangerous because he'll say so. And when you have that kind of a danger, the way that the progressive left tries to take care of it is by saying, well, look at how dangerous this person is. If you even listen to this person or engage with this person, then you're part of the problem. So you have to not hear what they're saying at all. Unfortunately, at the moment for them, I think RFK Jr.'s messages are starting to penetrate a little bit. And these are issues that they're going to have to try to honestly deal with and not just deflect in this rather shameful way.
It's super fun to watch him out there and, doing an intellectual battle because he's got the goods. I've been on the other side of him trying to press, trying to make sure his arguments were sound. He has got the goods. And by the way, he talks openly about how he vaccinated all of his children. It's not like he knows that the vaccines don't directly cause autism. He vaccinated all of his children and they don't have autism. He's not saying that. He's offering it as something that we should be looking at, that the combination of toxins in our environment that we give to kids at young ages could be potentially problematic for them health-wise, autism, et cetera. And so it's a much more nuanced message than the media would have us believe. Look, you did the tough thing during COVID. You paid your people and pulled your business through the pandemic. And now doing the tough thing could qualify you for up to $26,000 per employee at covidtaxrelief.org. Government funds are available to reward companies with 2 or more employees who stayed open during COVID. This is not a loan, and you don't have to pay it back. The program's complicated, but no one knows more about it than the CPAs and tax experts at covidtaxrelief.org. You pay nothing up front. They do all the work and share a percentage of the cash they get you. Businesses of all types, including nonprofits and churches, can qualify, including those who took PPP loans, even if you had increases in sales. You did the tough thing for your employees during COVID. Now let covidtaxrelief.org help get you up to $26,000 per employee. Visit covidtaxrelief.org. That's covidtaxrelief.org, covidtaxrelief.org. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.